I'm Joseph Phillips. I'm the founder of Pure Management Alliance, and I want to welcome you to this webinar where we have several of the instructors in our program. In this webinar, we're going to talk about Pure and talk about the courses these different instructors teach. So we'll begin by just doing some introductions of the different instructors. Why don't we start with Andrea?
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Andrea Pratt-Smith. I live in the most beautiful country in the world, in the Bahamas, and I am happy to be here. I am one of the Pure instructors, and I am also a Kanban, professional Kanban trainer and an ATP with PMI.
Fantastic. What's your course, Andrea?
The name of my course is Mastering Time, How to Stay on Track and Meet Deadlines.
Fantastic. It's a great course. David, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm here with my little assistant project manager. This is Sophia.
That's fantastic.
I've been a project manager for 4 years. Heard about Pure actually on LinkedIn. Very, very excited to be part of this huge, massive project. My course is hybrid project management, basically how to integrate traditional project management with Agile.
It's fantastic.
And I live in Fargo, North Dakota. It's super cold today. Negative 21 degrees right now.
Oh, it's way too cold.
I need to radiate some sunshine to you, David. Let me send
you actually do. You need to.
Well, welcome, David and Sophia.
Thank you.
Let's go to Ellen Ramsey, my also Florida friend.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. I have my PhD in educational leadership with the corporate track, and this flows really smoothly with project management. I have my CAPM, but I am the next step up for the PMP shortly. And my course on Pure is on empowering project managers. It's actually innovative project management, empowering leaders and enhancing team dynamics. So I'm excited to share more about that with emotional awareness and all other fun things to take on.
It's fantastic. It's a great leadership course, and emotional intelligence obviously is involved in that. So happy to have you here, Ellen. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to my friend and colleague, Robert Heen, skateboarder extraordinaire, as you can see.
Sorry, I was telling Joe these are just purely for decoration. I was given one by my aunt. Someone left it at her house, and I like the artwork on this one. I don't skateboard. I would get hurt if I did, but really happy to be part of the team. I always laugh when I think about being able to instruct project management, because when I started, I was pulled onto a project team, knew nothing about it. So I learned it by doing and then filled in gaps with courses that folks like yourself made. And I was pleased to be able to offer a couple of courses. Started off with, which one did I start with? Self-care for project managers. As we all know, it's a very stressful environment, so making sure we take care of ourselves is important. Postmortems and lessons learned, 2 areas of projects that I feel like we all forget about. And then also one on project hacks. What can we do, not shortcuts, but what can we do to kind of speed things up in a positive way?
Sure. Well, welcome, Robert. Good to see you again. And my friend, Brittany. Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you, Joe, for having me and being part of such a milestone in the field of project management. I'm an ex-student affairs professional turned certified project manager, and recently had also earned the Project Management Office certified practitioner, because there is such a science to the madness in the work that we do. Thank you, team. And I teach a course on shaping culture from the middle, servant leadership essentials for project managers. My background is in educational counseling, and so I admit, as helpful and necessary is waterfall, agile, and hybrid methodologies, I've learned from Joe, because once a student and now a co-instructor of Pure, that we manage projects and lead people. And so being able to contribute my background in emotional intelligence and counseling to aspire a servant leadership mindset, so that we are able to be there for our teams, but also for each other. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, and your course is fantastic. So welcome, Brittany. Great to see you again. And now we'll go to my good friend from Tampa, my neighbor, almost, Walt Sperling. Welcome, Walt.
Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. My name is Walt Sparling. I live in sunny Florida, near Joe. I've been doing project management for about 15 or so years. I have my PMP. And a big thing that I believe in is communications for successful projects. So my course is titled Managing Communications Throughout the Project Lifecycle.
Well, welcome. Now, Walt, did you say 15 years or 50 years?
Yeah, pretty close. Somewhere in the middle.
Walt's only 27. Don't let me fool you. All right, welcome, Walt. Good to see you again, my friend. Well, in this presentation tonight, I thought we would talk about the Pure program and what makes it unique. And when we started, we had our different interviews with each of you, and we talked about what you would like to teach. I'd like to know a little bit of information about why you are drawn to that topic that you taught in the Pure program. Why don't we start with Ellen? I'll just kind of go around and we'll get everyone's background on that. Why did you choose your topic?
It's funny being live. It's also impromptu as well. But what I did about that is I found my why in life, other than being first and foremost a mom dedicated to my daughter. Mm-hmm. It's to make other people in this world feel valued and appreciated for what they do and respected. And sometimes we don't get that. And if we do, it's wonderful. If we don't, we know that feeling. So I'm picking that topic and embracing it is because it's really important to be the leader, be the role model. If you might have people on your team that maybe they don't speak up or don't feel comfortable, you want to have that time to make them feel at ease so that they can share, because even if someone's quiet doesn't mean they don't have a brilliant idea. So having that type of space, and then, you know, trust and collaboration is built. And that's why I did pick that. And then there's little nuances involved and some case studies. So I just thought with my teaching background, with my MBA students, where I teach leadership and management specialization, everything just ties in. We have people who are in management or different roles in leadership. And a lot of times I'm excited to see how they grow. And some of the courses from the higher education, what I've done is allowed them to change it a little bit to make it more applicable for their course, not their course, but their teams, even though as long as the grading rubric's fine, that way they can do something more than just for a grade, but it's there for the real world. And I always like to hear back how that was inspiring. So that's why.
Well, it's fantastic. I know we talked about that earlier today.
Yeah.
So, that's great. Well, I'm glad that you were drawn to that topic. And I feel like it's easier to teach when you're passionate about that topic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I could see the other instructors going through it as we have to see what they've done. You can definitely tell that they are not only interested, but want others to feel at ease while they're watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go up on my screen up top to Andrea. Why don't you tell us about your course and why you wanted to teach that topic?
Well, that's a great question. And I did have a few options to choose from, but the one that I was really drawn to was mastering time and focusing on time management, because I get asked the question so much, not just from my mentees and persons who are part of my community of practice, but also my clients. Like, how can I better manage my time? Is there some strategies that you could help me with? Or, what can I do? Because I feel as though I'm always busy, but I'm not productive. And I coach people and I tell them there's a difference. There's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. And I've actually implemented so many of these strategies into my own life, and persons think that I have this organization that have like 100 employees, right? Because I give the impression that so much is being done, and it is, but it's just that I've learned how to master my time. And that's what I put into this course. It's not just theory or fluff, like you say, Joe. Is actually, what do I use? How am I able to be successful and manage my time as best as I can? Because I know that time is the one commodity that we all have an even playing field with.
Right.
There's 86,400 seconds in a day for everybody. I wish I had a bit more, but we don't. We don't get to add time to our day. So what we have to do is make sure that we implement strategies to be as productive as we can. And I've been teaching this for a few years now. I've been living by it every day. And when I got the opportunity to teach this class, I jumped on it because I was, let me share what I live. I'm not just teaching theory. I'm telling persons who take this course, this actually works. It's working for me. You can see it in my life. So it can work for you too, and you can apply these strategies immediately. This isn't something that takes time to learn. Once you know how to do it, apply it, it works.
Yeah, and that's when we started talking about you getting involved in the program, and I saw your outline and your synopsis of the course. That was what I liked the most. Was this isn't theoretical. This is actually how to do it, and that's a common thread among all of us. We wanted applicable skills. So I'm so happy that you decided to join us and get involved with that course, because it's very much, it's true. You're living it, and that's what we want from the program. We don't want the theory and fluff. We can get that elsewhere.
Well, and that, in general, Joe, that's what I've liked about learning from all of these folks and the others. It's, I've got a bookshelf full of books, and that's one thing, but hearing from people like Andrew who have done it and said, yes, this works, or that didn't, so much better.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's come down to Brittany, cut you off guard, and tell us about your course and why you're passionate about your leadership and emotional intelligence.
He did catch me off guard, and I was processing what comes to mind. When first learning about PURE being an acronym for Projects Under Real Expectations, there is an arsenal holding the PMP, holding now the PMOCP, how to set up a project for success through its 5 phases, right? Initiation to close. And we know that they're going to make some pivots, and we know there are going to be stressful moments of a project. We know we might not have the resources either, but what you ideally will have are those human resources. And we've seen that evolve into the types of resources that we even allocate time to. And I wanted to add, in thinking about what to offer to PURE, a part of me that has grounded me in the work of project management and created psychological safety and create sense of belonging and create communities of practice in every team that we lead, execute, and support with. And so really there is a science, I find, in what does Scrum say we need to do? How does Kanban, love that board, help me organize my thoughts? But where has there been, in my own lived experience, I answered my own question, a resource to create culture that is acknowledging of all differences of people, even on this call, and the teams that we've lead, creating spaciousness for conflict that is part of project management. I was lacking in finding those resources, and it was servant leadership that has felt so whole in being able to be applied from initiation to risk management to closing. And so being able to invest not only in the methodologies, but bringing a light to the relationships that we hold so dear, because none of these projects in any of our lives, and our own projects as a person, is going to be successful without a sphere of influence, a sense of community. And so similar to Andrea, it's what I've lived and breathed from educational counseling and student affairs, thinking about what is it in your career that you want to hold in purpose. The course that I've created for all of you, you'll find that we're going to talk about what does it mean to be a servant leader in a remote environment? What does it mean to be a servant leader in a hybrid environment? How do you navigate technology in 2025 right now so that there are ways to honor each other when your camera's on and your camera's off? But I also built into the course ways for servant leadership to not only invest in the team, but to influence upper management. There is a beauty to project management, but I all know, as I look at the screen right now and we're not in our heads, we influence. We have some authority, but oftentimes we're looking for buy-in, we're looking for approval, we're looking for a change request that is pending. And so you'll find in the course, for those that join PURE, and I encourage you, as you hear from my colleagues and I, ways that you can bring in data, both quantitative and qualitatively, so that the theory of servant leadership, the empathy, the commitment to the growth of others, the stewardship of your resources, those are its pillars, is what you bring to every space that you're in with the servant leader mindset. So all of the above, Joe, is what has brought that course together. But I admit, there were some topics I really wanted to dive deeper in, but I knew that not only were there resources and the certifications we all hold, but our wisdom, our lived experience, because where else do you learn how to people? How do you ensure that we're all able to connect and be on the same page with the definition of done and ending that project with success, on time, and within budget? That's what brought my course, Shaping Culture from the Middle, is to emphasize the power of being a middle manager with servant leadership essentials.
Yeah, that's so good. And I'm glad you chose this topic, and I know you're doing it. And just like what we talked about, is one of people that are not just talking theory or regurgitating what they've read, but they're teaching from experience. And one of the things I like that you said that I think that we've seen in our team is all these new relationships that we have with one another, and new colleagues and new friends that, we've met. And then, who knows where we go from here. And like there's Jim Chambers teaches a course in this. He was on the panel the other night, but Jim and I consulted on a huge project at a hospital together for a couple of years. And then funny enough, he went to another hospital and I went to a big insurance company to consult there. And about 3 months in, Jim's like, "Do you have a brother named Sam?" He was at my brother's hospital. And so it's funny, Sam and Jim and I are all, really good friends now. But you make these friends and connections and things come back, and you kind of go in and out of each other's lives. And it's that sense of, you really get into that synergy in that performing, stage of Tuckman's ladder that we we're interdependent, and you can count on someone. You hope you can. So it's so good.
Absolutely. It's almost like instead of having the theoretical aspects, and of course that's always important, but it's the human connection that brings that to life. You can all read about something, but how are things happening, whether it's a certain specific example or how can you improve on it? So it's always upskill as far as also practical skill building. So I'm excited to even learn more from everyone outside of these courses. And it's almost like the friends you didn't know you had yet and what the future might hold. So I like that.
Yes. Well, Joe, before you move on to the next instructor, I just want Brittany to know we're not in Zoom for this session, but I'm pressing my reaction button and all kind of hearts are flying all around for you. So just know that I'm pressing my heart's reaction.
I feel it through the internet. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Well, let's go up to David. Where's the good-looking baby? That's why we were all paying attention.
Right. Her mom. Her mom's home, so she's with her mom now.
Okay, all right. We'll give her the rest of the evening off.
Sweet. For me, I work in the banking industry, and I get bored a lot with all the monotony of. I don't know if anybody's ever worked with a highly regulated environment as a project manager before, but that really, And so about the traditional and waterfall, and I was brought up in an agile world, agile environment. And so it's just kind of like always constantly changing. And I also knew how burnt out I felt when, there was no breaks. We were constantly going into sprints and, developing stuff. And I also know the extreme of the other side where there's nothing going on. I'm thinking, I have no hair to pull, but I want to pull it out. Right. So using hybrid methods just really changed everything for me. It's like, well, sufficient. It's just like the ACP course, just sufficient,
Right.
The documentation just needs to be just sufficient, and that's it. And so just really having that mindset, that the mindset of a project manager in an agile world and also a traditional world, and just kind of blend that together. Just it's been a career changer for me. It's been a life changer, a game changer for me. And I felt like everybody else needed to be, to come into that world, if that makes sense.
Sure. Well, in the program itself, we do, it's a bit of a hybrid because you actually get the real value by completing the program, where you get your digital badge and certificate. But we also did these incremental deliverables.
Yes.
Of course, you get your PDUs as you go. You don't have to wait till the very end of the year and pass the exam to get your PDUs. You get it as you go. So it's kind of a hybrid approach. And there's so many opportunities for hybrid that it's not, I mean, Agile is not everything, but there's so many great things from Agile that we can leverage to get things done and to
absolutely
be more creative. And well, welcome, David. I'm glad you're involved, and welcome.
Excited to be involved in this. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, let's go to Robert. Robert, tell us, I know you taught a couple of classes. Yeah, you've already mentioned a couple of those, but why were you drawn to those?
Yeah, I started with self-care because I've realized, and Brittany, you were speaking about like the human connection, and I've worked with people who are like very talented in what they do, but not very talented with, communicating or helping
Mhm.
explain something. Or if there's a problem, I was told once, we've got to yank you off an entire department because you're doing so poorly. And it took 3 months to get the feedback. And in that intervening 3 months, the monkey mind is going, and I was stressed out and I couldn't focus. And so I was, how do I fix this for myself? Because I don't like that. I can't change that person, but what can I do to care for Rob so I can be sane and get through this? And I quickly found there were things I was already doing, eating well or sleeping or those things. But there's a whole host of other tools out there that I could try and apply. Meditation, I started every day for 10 minutes just to kind of calm that down.
Right.
And so I chose that topic because if I'm having that problem, there are probably at least 2 or 3 other people out there.
Well, we're all human. We're all having those problems.
Yeah, to some degree. And it's then sharing the tools that I found useful. And kind of like David was saying with hybrid, like there'll be pieces of things that can work in some ways, in other ways, but then just offering those things for folks to say, hey, here's what has worked for me. Here's what I understand for some research. I've spoken to some folks, my own therapist. I bounce ideas off of them. And not that I'm a therapist or a trained fill in the blank, but hey, these are practical things that I do daily to make sure that when I show up at work or I have to talk to my spouse or do something, I have the energy and focus and can do it. And I don't get trapped in that monkey mind of, oh, everything's terrible. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So that's why I focused on that topic, because I got so much value out of it. And I realized how much impact others could get from it.
Right. Right. Well, that's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're here, Robert. And I think you have some really good content in there. And again, it's you're not, like you said, you're not a therapist, but these are what's working in your life.
Mhm.
And I have found, like, if I run up against an issue or having trouble or I can't figure something out, I know I'm not the first person to have this. Somebody else has been there before me. And that's one of the benefits of all of our courses, but your course is like, hey, project management can be stressful.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, you've got to be able to manage stress and take care of yourself, make yourself a priority. So it's so great. Well, welcome, and I'm happy you're here.
Me too. I
And
appreciate y'all.
Yeah, let's talk to Walt. Walt, tell us about your course and why you were drawn to that.
Well, in the first 25 years of my 50-year project management career, I actually did design. So I did drawings, and my way of communicating was the drawing. So I learned early on that the clearer the drawings were and the more detailed they were, the better the results, the less questions. So when I got into project management later in my career, it was the same thing. Clear communications was the way to get a point across, minimize meetings, minimize confusion. And I've led teams. I've led a lot of projects of different sizes, different types, and there's different people you deal with all the time. There's different aspects of communication that work for each of them. And I just learned how important that was. So about a year and a half ago, I was asked to contribute a chapter in a project management book, actually, that was led by one of the other instructors here, John Connolly. And I wrote a chapter on communications. So when you reached out to me about joining this program, I thought, well, I've already started something. I wrote this chapter on it. Why not expand on it and turn it into a course? So I took that and just created an outline for all the different types of communication and methods and put together the course. And with the stress that it is not, there is no one point in a project where communication is important. The entire project, communication is important. And we communicate in many different ways throughout that project. So that's what I focused on in the course.
Well, it's fantastic. I know it's a great course because I know I did a couple of lectures in there with you. And it was a pleasure to do that. And I'm very happy you're involved. And I know you bring a lot of experience to our team. So welcome, Walt, and happy that you're here. We can all applaud Walt. It's good. He loves it.
Well, and one more thing I want to add on there. I actually am a host of a project management podcast. So I interview project managers, project leaders from all over the world. Right. And communication is always a topic that comes up.
Yeah, always. Yeah, I agree. I teach a few courses in the Pure program, and I'll talk about the Pure Foundations. Is probably my favorite course because it's the whole vision that brought all of us together. It took about 2 years to get to launch. That I journal every day, and just, business and personal and things I'm struggling with. And I kept going back to this conversation that I had where one particular client, I go and I consult, but I also teach. And so we're consulting how to do whatever, but then they wanted to earn this other credential. And so I'm teaching that. I'm teaching the PMP, and they're like, okay, but that's not how you're telling us to do it in real life. And like, well, okay, well, for your exam, we have this body of knowledge, we have this exam content outline that we're all of us as a community, the project management community, work towards the generally accepted practices. But in application, it's nuanced and it's tailoring. And the PMBOK talks about the idea of tailoring. And so we got into this conversation of, real world versus book or classroom theory. And it just got me thinking. I was like, well, not everywhere is the same. It'd be impossible to write a prescription of how to do project management. That you have to tailor, as we know, in every scenario. And so that's where I came with this idea of, I just want to do pure project management. But the idea of pure project management is different in every environment. But I kept coming back to, okay, what are the core things, the pure PM? And then I was like, well, you have to be realistic. And then it clicked, well, that's projects under realistic expectations.
I was going to say you went backwards then with the name.
Yeah, I did.
I always assumed you had the acronym and then you went from there, but you flipped it
No,
around.
it was the concept, was and then the name, it just made sense immediately. It was that concept. And so I began, writing, and this was going to be a book because, I've written, but who reads books anymore other than Robert and Walt? But so it made more sense. Like, I am smart enough to know I don't know everything. And I wanted folks from all different industries and backgrounds, and we got that goal accomplished. And so that's how Pure came about. And then the Pure Foundations course, the free course that's on the website that anybody can take for a free PDU. I give this framework that I drew out this temple, like Walt's talking about. I got to draw. I have to see it, Walt, right? So I have to draw stuff out to get the concept. And at the foundation of that is communication. At the foundation of the project management or the Pure Temple's communication. And then we, build up from that. And all of our topics are in these different components, all leading towards business value. And the whole focus of the program is business value. And if I'm a student in a class, my business value is I need to apply this. I don't just want to finish. I want to make my life better. So that was the goal with business value of Pure, and why when each of you got involved, I was stressing the idea of applicable, like a real world credential. And so that was the whole goal and how Pure came to be. So I'm happy that all of you are involved in Pure. Let's talk a little bit about, for those people that are watching, that maybe they're learning about Pure for the first time. Why do you think those individuals should come into the program? And how is it going to affect their life or projects or career for the better? So I'll just open the floor up if anybody wants to hop in.
Well, I'm going to say that the whole realistic expectations is the big reason. So when you're going through the PMP course, which many of us have done, there's a lot of material, and a lot of that material, when you get out in the real world, you don't actually use, at least not in the way that it's taught. So every company is different. Every industry is a little different. So the interesting thing about this course or this certification is that the instructors here are from all over. They're all different industries and companies. So you're getting a mix. They're not all talking about the same thing,
right?
But they're talking about things that they're experienced in, that they've done day to day. I love to use the term boots on the ground. These are people that do it. So you're getting real experience. And I think that is very beneficial, because when people start a company, the first thing they're going to do, no matter what their background is they're going to ask the people around them, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
So now, before you go in, or if you're in there now and you're not getting that assistance, you got to 25 people here that are telling you how you can do things.
Yeah.
Giving you an
And
idea.
to extend that, Walt, like the experience even of only this group is beyond project management. I mean, Ellen's got a
Right.
PhD. Like, I don't know what to do with that. That's amazing.
Huh.
But the perspective that Ellen could bring, or Brittany or David or any one of us,
That's
is so
Dr.
far beyond
Ellen.
just project management.
Yeah, I'm one of the humble ones. You don't usually find that out about me right away, Doctor.
Dr. Ellen, yes. Yeah, but I agree, Robert, is we have such a, I mean, I haven't collectively looked at our team to see how many years of experience we have, but I know we have tons of different backgrounds. I know I'd get my calculator. I mean, we have 23 people on our team. And of course, Lee Lambert has been doing this forever, you know. So yeah, we have probably hundreds of years of combined experience, I would imagine.
Just with you.
Well, then we have to add your 50, Walt. So
We're pushing a couple centuries, but I'll add it to emphasize, I don't believe, as I've gone through the course and know what I've contributed in with my colleagues here, I don't believe there isn't a sector that isn't touched. I don't believe there is a walk of life from civilian to military to education to banking, just to name a few. So for those that are listening, even if this is your first time thinking about project management as a career, I envy you as somebody that made a pivot in their career to find it, find the resources, find that there are credentials such as ours that you can ensure that your knowledge is one that is recognized, valued, and if you got to get those PDUs, you can have those too. That is an added bonus and a value. But I really don't know yet in my time in project management, I'm pushing about 5.5 from project coordination to project manager.
Sure. Yeah.
That unless you go out and find those communities, chapters, online forums, I don't know another centralized version of the wisdom, the knowledge, the breadth of experience that you're going to find that is as wide and as diverse and as honorable of the work that we do, because you're finding and going to listen to us tell you we've been here and we've done this. Let me tell you how we navigated it. What lessons are you learning? What homework is provided throughout the courses where I know I'm prompting? What do you think about the scenario with 3 case studies for you to ponder versus a hypothetical situation in a textbook that you might want to pull in the scenario you're in without any solutions? You're going to find a course with one of our faces, our voices, and our breath to tell you, hey, what if you try this? And being able to bring that curiosity to problem solve whatever risk or issue your project is facing. So Joe, to answer your question, I really don't know another version of a collection of knowledge that really touches every sector of project management.
I agree. And that, not about me. I didn't want it to be just me. You know, I've taught over 1 million people online and in person in my career. And I don't want this to be me. I do not know everything. There's I meet people all the time that have way more experience than me. And of course, before Walt says it, I'll say it, that are way smarter than me. So you're okay, Walt. So I wanted to leverage that and leverage or bring out that experience. And I didn't necessarily want other trainers. I mean, there's a lot of people that I really had to coerce some people to get in front of the camera and do this, but it's I know you're doing the real work, and that's what we need. That's the value of the program. And just let me tack on there before we go on with that is one thing I don't talk about enough in Pure is we have a community, like a private community. So people that join can go and ask questions and talk to their peers and talk to us. And that's growing. I mean, we're very new, but that's growing. And it's kind of only people that are in the program have access to that community. And so it's a neat part of our learning management server that's part of we don't talk about it enough because it's so new, but all of us can go in and contribute and learn from each other there as well. So let me get back to that about why our program's unique or why people should enroll anyone else who wants to hop in.
I want to hop in on this because I've been around a lot of persons who work in project management, but they don't necessarily have the credentials or the certifications. And they feel as though because they've been working in project management for 10, 15, 20 years, they could just sit an exam and pass it because they have the experience. And then when they fail on the first attempt, fail on the second attempt, and try for the third attempt, and they say, why am I failing this? I've been working in project management for so long. It's
Right.
because your practical real world experience doesn't matter to that exam. It's based on the book. It's based on theory. So you find that persons are discouraged from getting their credentials or their certifications because what they know in the real world, as this is how project management works, it doesn't work when you're sitting an exam. So
Right.
what makes this pure project manager credential so different is because you're getting that knowledge, that practical knowledge from real world experienced project management professionals. We're living it, we're doing it. And so when you take the exam and the little quizzes that we have at the end, and then the exams that you take at the end of the course, the questions are based on practical experience. It's not theory. It's not based on what the textbook says. It's based on, okay, how would you approach this scenario? How would you deal with this situation in project management? So it's actual, applicable, holistic project management. It's not theory. And like the other instructors said, when you just focus on theory, a lot of times you have the knowledge, but you don't have no way to use it because it's not applicable on every project and every situation. Every project is different. That's the whole in the definition of what a project is. It's unique, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Mhm.
How can you apply theory to something that's unique when you have to tailor it to that particular project? So what we're giving you is that real world holistic experience that only someone who's been in this business for a while would know. So it's like you're getting gems and nuggets without having to go down the road of failure. So
Right.
that's why I would encourage it. I've heard the pain. I've heard person cry and say, I just can't pass this exam.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm stupid because I can't pass this exam. It's not that you're stupid. It's because it's not tailored based on your experience. It's tailored on the book. You have to know the book.
It's so true.
And we've been mentioning it too about bridging the gap between theory and practice. And what Pure does is focus on the compliance-driven management and taking it to people first leadership. And as you were talking, maybe I'm aging myself, and I think it still repeats, but The Wizard of Oz, you know how it starts black and white and then it becomes
What
colorful.
movie is this?
I'm thinking like when you have those traditional, they're very good, traditional and theory studying for a certain exam is black and white pages. But when you come to Pure, it's like it sparkles and all this little magic of different colors coming through. And that's how I look at it, because it's a different way, a different approach. It's an add-on, a value add. So I'm just excited to be part of it.
As you're both describing it, I'm just reminiscing and remembering. I have them. All of the note cards I would generate for these exams, and I would bring them on airplanes and drop them, and people, oh my, they're out of order. And then, how many of these do I need in my life? Like,
well, I use them all the time. That's my Kanban board, is those 3x5 cards. But I get it. And it's like, I do not want to put down, and I'm not putting down or disparaging other credentials, because there's a place and it holds value. And certainly it's been great in my life. And I've taught, well, since 2003 is when I got PMP certified and made the pivot from IT to project management. I was forced to. And so it's been fantastic. But I think that you move beyond that I'm going to talk theory, the shu-ha-ri theory, that you learn the rules, you bend the rules, and you understand when to break the rules. And that is what we have in Pure. But you all have hit the nail on the head, I think, is, I've heard the same thing, is we don't do it like this. We don't call it this way. We don't do earned value management or fine float or, this stuff, which you'll find none of that in our program, because it's like you can take someone's course. There's 29 courses in the program, and after each one, there's something you can go apply, if not multiple things. Yeah. So anyone else wanted to add to this?
Sure. I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say this, but just looking through everything, there's a course that I'm still excited to take. I haven't taken it yet, and this is probably gonna give the secret away to everyone. I feel like everyone should have to pay to access this information. But hey, it's 2025, and project managers are doing so much more than everything else, and so just having a course like AI, teaching us how to do that, that's just, it's invaluable for me, for the price you're offering it at, Joe. It's a steal, honestly, because you would have to pay to learn all these things, but I think it's really exciting to be able to get the real world experiences from real life project managers who aren't
Right.
perfect, by the way, who've made
Yeah,
mistakes
right.
and are teaching you from the mistakes they've made. Someone like Robert isn't scared to tell you, hey, I was taking off a project. I'm like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
really vulnerable, and that's pretty cool.
Right.
Just being able to learn stuff like that in the program. And as a project manager, as someone who's newer into the project management field, than a lot of people on this call, a lot of people on the team, being part of that team just shows me how much, first, that I know, number one, and how much more I have to go. When I see people like Walt, people like Joe telling me, yeah, I did this, I made this mistake, I did that, I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
you guys are like project management gods. Like, what are you talking about?
I don't know if I want that legend. The project management guy. That's one of the Greek gods we don't talk about a lot.
David, I don't ever remember admitting I did anything wrong. I don't know what.
Yeah, right. Well, let's get your wife in the room.
Nothing was recorded, right? Never happened.
Well, let's wrap up our conversation here. It's been fantastic and a lot of fun. Oh, I just wanted to add, David, Joshua, the AI instructor in our program, was in the other panel. And so if anyone watching wants to see some insight to that, watch the other panel or look at Joshua's video on our YouTube channel about AI and project management. And it's a really good course. It's very practical. We know AI is changing every day. So, but he talks about the practical application of it. It's pretty cool. What I would like to do to wrap up our conversation, I like in any class, and part of our pure methodology is to take what I've learned and to be able to apply it immediately. So I want people watching this to learn something from each of us. So we'll quickly go around and give a quick, what's something someone can do to make their life better, their project better, as a result of watching this. So a free giveaway that someone can take, we can have an impact and begin that ripple effect that is pure. So if anyone would like to go first, if you've got one ready to go, you can pop in. Robert?
I got one. From self-care. It's called box breathing. So breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, don't breathe for 4 seconds, repeat. And do that for a minute, do that for one cycle, but that will help instantly just calm things down and give you focus.
Oh, that's great. I should use that in golf.
Right before your shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Or after. Well, welcome. Good tip, Robert. Anyone else have a tip that you want to share? Walt?
Lessons learned. One of the things that we talk about in the course is lessons learned. And what I've seen over the years is a lot of people wait till the end of the project and then they do a formal written write-up of what they learned in the project, and they've forgotten half of what they really learned because they didn't track it throughout the project. And secondly, they didn't share it with anyone else. So it really just went into a black hole.
Yeah.
Track as you go and share.
Right. Who's next?
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I like what David said about vulnerability, and it's okay to be vulnerable. Maybe it's as I'm getting to my third stage of our lives, you're human, so it's okay to admit something. And if you do, then someone else might say, oh, I'm not alone, like that imposter syndrome,
right,
where people might think I don't belong here. But a lot of people, we're going day in, day in the grind, and we're here for a reason. And in my course, I talk about leadership styles, and it's not just one, it depends on the situation too. You can have 2 or 3 depending on your group. So I also talk about how you might be able to read the room, and it's just taking that psychological aspect too, and it's a self-reflection. So that's what I always love doing, and empathy mapping. That's one of my big things about empathy and empathetic leadership. And I know, Brittany, it seems like our courses kind of have a Venn diagram. We kind of overlap, not the same information, but we have that connection of, good stuff. And everyone, I mean, I'm just excited to be part of this. And thank you again, Joe.
Well, you're welcome. We're happy you're here.
Well, and I'd love to compliment that too, because a moment to, when you can, I've been here too, just got off of work as a project manager and I'm here right now with all of you, so I know this is real. When you can bring an objective lens to the work that's in front of you, action can often precede clarity. And so in shaping culture from the middle, you're going to find a tool called the Johari window. It's a beautiful matrix. And if you're into the matrices, it can make it a spreadsheet and sometimes even a tool for project teams to complete. It really is meant for the individual if you want to do it for yourself. And I implore those listening in to think about what information about your leadership, your preferences of communication, your requirements of your project, and others don't know. And what information about their working styles, their working hours, how they need to be prepared for their engagements as a servant leader, can you hold figuratively the food and the water for them that is known to you? And so when you're able to bring that lens and have a moment of clarity, preceding or following an intense moment of your project that may be a milestone, I find that Johari window and the 3 other quadrants that I haven't mentioned that you'll find in the course gives you different insight into a situation that is emotionally invested, because we care and there is value not only business and personally, but there is a way for you to see a moment of conflict as a moment of opportunity. So I implore those listening and watching to explore the Johari window.
Very good. All right, we've got a couple more, then I'll end with one. David, I'll put you on the spot. What you
got? For me, it's don't take yourself too seriously. So with agile and traditional project management, it feels like they're on two extreme ends. And sometimes you could really be a stickler for the rules. And sometimes you'd be like, yep, let's break all the rules and do whatever. But, sometimes you just throw your hands up in the air, let the team do what they want to do, servant leadership, like Brittany said, and just allowing the team to become self-forming teams and just do whatever works,
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, innovative.
Exactly.
Have some freedom to do that. Yeah,
that's the word.
And Andrea, what's your nugget to take away?
Okay, I have so many nuggets, but I'll make it quick. I think for me, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to be intentional with how I manage my time, to try my best to eliminate distractions, and to just take it one task at a time. I think persons become overwhelmed and they procrastinate because they see the big picture and they try to boil the ocean. But if you take a task and you decompose it and you break it down into smaller increments that you can just attack one at a time, then you find that you get momentum and you build up, that work ethics and you get things going. But if you look at the big picture, it's going to be scary, but focus on getting something done. When you start it, don't stop it. Stop starting, start finishing, focus on finishing, not starting, and celebrate the small wins, because we all need to celebrate when we've achieved accomplishments, and that keeps us happy and motivated and in the right frame of mind. And it all starts with mindset. So get in the right frame of mind, take all of our courses, learn from us, and just be productive and stop being busy.
Very good. Well, the tip I have to leave to you all, the people watching, goes back to early in my career. I was working at a large pharmaceutical company. And there was one gentleman there that was kind of my coach, kind of my mentor on this project, and just helped me a lot. It was a great guy. And the project was wrapped up and I was going to be leaving, going on to a different assignment. And I wrote him a thank you card. It was very simple. Wrote him a thank you card, handwritten card, and gave it to him. And he thought, oh, it was great. And, gave me a hug and wished me well. And that was it. Fast forward 15, 20 years, I'm back at that same organization teaching a class. I said, I'm going to look up John. I've not talked to him forever. So I looked him up. I found out which building he was in now across campus. And I made my way over there and I saw John and I walked into his office and we start talking and, catching up on things. And I look over and on the bulletin board in his office, he has pinned up that thank you card that I gave him all those years ago. And I was like, I can't believe you kept that. And he told me I was the only person to ever give him a thank you card at work. And he's kept it all those years. So my advice to you, free advice, you be the only person to give someone a thank you card. So very simple to do. You can buy a box of thank you cards and write out a handwritten note. We're all virtual, we're all remote, but if you have to mail it to them. But give someone a thank you card for something they've done. Could be, someone in your family, your spouse, but a team member. There you go. We do a little heart, right? Valentine's Day tomorrow. But tell people thank you. It goes a long way. We all like to be acknowledged for the work that we do, and it means a lot. It meant a lot to that guy that kept that card. And then all these years later, I was shocked to see that card hanging up on his wall. So I know it means a lot. It was a valuable lesson for me that I'll give to you. So I'll end on that note. Be thankful, give thanks to others. Thank all of you for being involved and for your time this evening. If you are interested in learning more about the Pure program, come to puremanagementalliance.com. You can take the free 1-hour course, get a free PDU from that, and that will lay the groundwork of Pure. And then you should enroll in the program and you'll learn from all of these different instructors. If you want to contact any of our instructors, go to the Teams page and you can see all of our instructors and their LinkedIn information and how to contact them. And I know they would love to hear from you if you got more questions or want to reach out to what they're doing in their career. So thank you all for your time and have a fantastic week.